Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you are here in this class with me today. Thank you so much for joining in. I promise you're not going to regret how much fun you're going to have and learn about yourself. So, thank you so much for joining me. If you don't already know, my name's Jessica Homolka. I'm a life strategist. I work with women and moms to really help them get over that overwhelm and that struggle that we have from day to day. And so, I know it's one of those things that most of us struggle with, to get out of that autopilot and to really find all of us and live in the moment and live in our world and be who we truly are. So I just wanted to say thank you and welcome. And if you don't know my history, I wanted to give you a little bit about that, just to kind of give you a background of where I've come from, and what I love to do and what I'm passionate about. So I'm a mom. I'm a wife as well of a football coach. Kind of crazy. Anybody that marries into football is a little silly. So I guess that works out for me because I'm a bit of a nut sometimes. Um, I do have beautiful children, like I said. I'm a mom, and timing on everything, it doesn't always work out, but we make it happen. So besides that, I love to dance. If you know anything about me, you definitely know that I'm a dancing queen. I used to have some liquid courage to get out there and do that, but not so much anymore. So I'm a lover of all music and motion. It's such a blessing to have that in our world. But we can get to that later too. I see myself as a master conjurer and an entrepreneur. I love working with women, and I'm really passionate about what I do. So I didn't used to be that way. Just to give you kind of a background, I really didn't have a spark for a really long time in my world. When I was in high school, I was that quirky, happy-go-lucky gal with friends across the board, and I really marched to the beat of my own drummer, though, which was kind of cool. I actually used to cut my own hair. Yeah, it's kind of scary, right? So it was about an inch tall, spiked up. You can laugh, that's cool. Not a problem there. But anyway, when I was a junior, I injured my back playing softball, and the years that followed that were really challenging for me. They're taxing on my body and my emotions, and um, throughout high school and right after college, I ended up having 2 back surgeries. I went through a ton of different epidurals and injections, and my skin was actually black and blue from all of the pokes and pricks that I had received. I cracked and chipped my kneecap. I was just in a ton of pain on so many medications. The list was just huge. I'd also become a recluse that sat on the floor during class because I was just in so much pain, and I couldn't really stand everything. So after college, I actually was diagnosed with fibromyalgia and hypermobility syndrome. So if you don't know what hypermobility syndrome, basically, long story short, is the tissue in my joints are super flexible and loose, and so I injure myself really easily. Makes sense with all my injuries. But I had chronic back pain, I had chronic migraines. Really, the only good news about all of my doctor visits and bills and medications were that I could write a lot off on taxes. So, hey, perk, right? No, not so much. To make a long story short, though, I was tired of living this awful, horrible life, and I knew there was so much more. I was tired of being depressed, and I was tired of sitting there listening to doctors telling me they couldn't really help me. That wasn't going to work for me. So that's where my life changed, and I dove into a new journey. With homeopathic medicine, working with energy and a natural healer. And since then, I've gotten off all medications. I don't go to doctors really anymore. And I've reduced my pain to really a bare minimum. And I have such a bigger love for life now. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But you can definitely read more about my story if you like on my website, jessicahomolka.com, if you want to do that. But from there, I realized that I can make huge changes in my world, in my body, through some tools and techniques. And I wondered how that could impact everything else, my family life, my work life, because I'd already done so much. So I decided to do a little bit of research on my own. My background is in corporate America, human resources. I've had energy work training, psychology, communication. So I have pretty diverse background in education, and then I worked in higher education and corporate world and everything in management for 9 years. Prior to my work in higher education in the corporate area, I actually worked in the food service, and you either hate it or you love it. I did love it. I made quite a bit of money, which was lovely. I was a master conjurer now that I look back at it, and I was trying to think of why I liked it so much. And the cool thing about working in food service is that I didn't have to be this fake person. I didn't have to put on a facade. I was totally me. And while I worked in food service, obviously I got paid pretty well, made some really good money, but I conjured up a free cruise. I also conjured up an impromptu concert in the parking lot from an older country singer. His name's Aaron Tippin. Don't know if you know who he is. Doesn't really matter, but it was quite fun. So yeah, that's a whole nother thing, master conjurer. You'll have to check out my blog to see some tips and tricks on how to go about being that master conjurer, because you all have those superpowers and can do that. So anyway, when I started in the corporate world, I thought that I needed to follow that mold of everybody else, and it didn't really work. I was miserable. I gained weight. It was quite awful. Anybody know what I'm talking about there? So, it doesn't really matter if you're an accountant, a teacher, or stay-at-home mom. You've got to do things that work for you, and so that's what I started doing. And I started my own path, and I accepted who I was and how things worked for me. And I changed things because I was just tired of being overworked, not promoted, being put last, because as women, that's usually what happens, right? So I did something different. And after making that 180 shift in my health, I did the same thing and started implementing the same tools and techniques into the workplace. Cool thing is, my management style was not the norm. And it changed so many worlds. Now, some may have said that I was, wearing my emotions on my sleeve. We hear that a lot, right? You know what? Who I impacted and what I impacted was phenomenal, and the changes that I noticed in myself and others around me was just amazing. And I'm so grateful for the choice that I made to change things, and I'm grateful for the lives that I changed around me too. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. The reason I tell you that too is because no matter where you are in your life, working or staying at home or whatever that is, being you every day can make a huge difference. I remember going to a TEDx talk and listening to a gentleman talk about that there's no perfect job and that you have to create it. And I truly, truly believe that, and that we can do and create whatever we want in our lives. And so, again, thank you so much for joining me, a little bit about me, and I really am excited that you're joining this journey, and we're going to have some fun, okay? So much love and gratitude, and have a super day, and we'll chat soon, okay?